You'll get it when you're older, my mom said, after picking a 5-star resort getaway for my sister. I didn't push back. I just set a key on the table and disappeared before they returned. That Tuesday, a single phone call from my mother ripped through the carefully constructed lie of my life. In her casual announcement, I finally saw the brutal truth: I was invisible to them, and that realization changed everything. I was 29, stirring my instant ramen during lunch, the air in my small office stuffy and still. My mother's voice chirped with that specific, almost manic excitement she reserved only for Emily, my younger sister. Emily had landed a big promotion, and according to my mom, it demanded an epic celebration. "We're taking her to a luxury resort in Miami, Florida," she declared. 7 days, all-inclusive. "Your father's been saving, and Emily truly deserves this after working so hard." "That sounds amazing," I replied, watching the noodles swirl, my voice flat. "When are you going?" "End of April." "I know it's short notice, but we got such a deal." Then came the forced casualness, the slight pause. "It's just the 3 of us, though. The room only fits 3 comfortably. And you know how your father gets about upgrading, right? You understand, don't you, sweetie? You'll understand when you're older." Older? I was 3 years older than Emily. But I just agreed, numb, and hung up. That night, alone in my cramped studio apartment, I did something I'd never done. I pulled out every birthday card, every Christmas present, every memory I had from my family. I laid them out, chronologically, and the pattern was so glaring, so sickeningly obvious, it almost hurt to breathe. Emily's 8th birthday, a trip to Universal Studios Orlando. My 8th birthday, a grocery store cake, a card with $20. Emily's high school graduation, a new car, a new laptop, a party for 200 guests. My high school graduation, dinner at Applebee's, a Target gift card. Emily's college tuition? Fully paid, for years at a private university. My college tuition? "We can help with community college, honey, but you'll need to work for the rest." I had worked. 2 jobs through community college, then transferred to a state school, drowning in loans to finish my degree. I'd worked through every holiday, every summer, every weekend. And here I still was, paying off those loans, still crammed into 400 square feet, while Emily lived downtown in a luxury condo my parents had helped her buy. The excuse had always been the same: Emily was younger. Emily needed more support. Emily was going through a difficult time. Every time I felt that flicker of resentment, Mom would pat my hand and say, "I'd understand. When I was older. When I was more mature. When I could see the bigger picture." I was staring down 30. The picture couldn't get any bigger. The next morning, I called my supervisor and requested 3 weeks of leave. I had the vacation days saved, I never took time off. She approved it, surprised but pleased. Sarah from HR even stopped by my desk. "Olivia, I saw your leave request. Everything all right? You haven't taken a day off in 2 years." "Everything's fine," I said, not looking up from my spreadsheet. "Just need some time." She lingered, wanting to probe, but I kept my eyes glued to my screen until she left. Years of practice had made me very good at making myself invisible. That evening, notebook in hand, I made lists. What to keep, what to sell, what to donate. Where I wanted to go. What kind of job, what kind of life I wanted. The list grew, my handwriting messy, but I couldn't stop. This was the first time in my adult life I was making decisions purely for myself. Around midnight, I called Chloe. She answered, her voice thick with sleep. "Liv, what's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," I said, surprised by my own steady voice. "I just need to know something. When you look at me, what do you see?" There was a long pause. I heard her shifting. "What kind of question is that?" "An important one." Another pause, longer this time. I see someone who's tired. Someone who's been holding themselves together for so long they forgot what it feels like to fall apart. Someone who deserves better than what they've gotten. Something cracked open in my chest. Thank you, Chloe. Liv, what's going on? I'm leaving, I said. Not just the apartment. Everything. I'm starting over. Because of the Miami trip? Because of everything. The vacation was just the last straw. I looked around my cramped studio, the second-hand furniture, the bare walls. I've been living like I'm in a waiting room, Chloe. Waiting for them to notice me, to appreciate me, to love me the way they love Emily. I'm done waiting. Chloe was quiet so long I thought the call had dropped. Finally, she whispered, I think that's the bravest thing I've ever heard. Then I called my landlord. My lease was month to month. I gave my 30 days notice. He was sorry to see me go, said I'd been a model tenant. The plan came together with a clarity that surprised even me. 6 years as an accountant, and I was good at it. Good enough that I'd been quietly building a safety net. 15,000 in savings, another 10 in investments. Not a fortune, but it was freedom. My coworker, Mark, noticed a change the next day. He'd been there longer than anyone, had trained me when I started. We weren't close, but he saw things others missed. You're leaving? He said, not a question. I looked up from my calculator. What makes you say that? You've got that look. Same one I had before I quit my first job. Like you've already gone, but your body hasn't caught up yet. He leaned against my cubicle wall. Where are you headed? Why does everyone assume I'm going somewhere? Because staying somewhere requires a different kind of energy. You don't have it anymore. He was right, of course. I told him about Austin, about wanting to see the Southwest, about needing a fresh start. I didn't tell him about my family. Some wounds were too raw to share. Austin's good, he said. My sister lives there. It's hot as hell for about 3 months, then you get used to it. Actually starts to feel comforting after a while. He pulled out his phone. Here, I'll send you her number. Jessica Miller. She works in HR at a tech company. Knows the job market there. Tell her I sent you. I stared at him, confused by this unexpected kindness. You don't have to. I know. But sometimes life hands you a rope when you're climbing out of a hole. Might as well grab it. He sent the contact, then straightened. Good luck, Olivia. I mean it. After he left, I sat there, looking at the name on my phone. Jessica Miller. A stranger who might become a connection, a friend, part of whatever new life I was building. It felt like a sign. I spent the next week sorting through my belongings with ruthless efficiency. Furniture went on Facebook Marketplace, sold within days. Clothes I hadn't worn in a year went to Goodwill. Books, kitchen supplies, decorations, everything that tied me to this place, to this life, to this version of myself that still waited for my parents to notice I existed. Chloe helped me pack essentials into my car. She was the only person I told, and even then, not everything. Are you sure about this? She asked, taping a box of dishes. It seems really sudden. I've been sure about this for a long time, I said. I just didn't know it until now. She looked at me, concerned. Where are you even going, West? I've always wanted to see New Mexico. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth. I didn't have a destination. I just had a direction, a way. I finished the box of dishes and decided I didn't need them. I donated them that afternoon. As we loaded the last boxes, Chloe grabbed my arm. Your mom called me yesterday. My stomach dropped. What did she say? She wanted to know if you were upset about the trip. Said you seemed quiet on the phone. Chloe made air quotes. I told her I hadn't noticed anything different. Was that okay? That was perfect. I slammed the trunk, perhaps harder than necessary. Did she say anything else? Just that she hoped you weren't being sensitive about the whole thing. But you tend to take things personally. Chloe's expression darkened. I almost told her off right there, Liv. I wanted to ask her when she'd last paid attention to you for more than 5 minutes, but you didn't. No, because I figured you had a plan, and me going off on her would mess it up. She pulled me into a hug. I'm going to miss you so much. I'll call, I promised. Not from my regular number, but I'll get a new phone and I'll call. You're the only one who gets the number. Not even your parents. Especially not them. Chloe pulled back, studying my face. Do you think you'll ever forgive them? The question caught me off guard. I'd been so focused on leaving, escaping, surviving, that forgiveness hadn't crossed my mind. I don't know. Maybe that's something I'll figure out once I'm far enough away to breathe. Fair enough. She wiped her eyes. For what it's worth, I think they're going to regret this. When they finally realize you're gone, really gone, they're going to understand what they lost. Maybe, I said. Or maybe they'll just get mad that I didn't play my part anymore. We stood in the parking lot of my now former apartment, the spring sun warming our faces, and I felt the weight of all the years I'd spent trying to be enough for people who would never see me. Chloe had seen me, though. She'd always seen me. Thank you, I said, for being my friend even when it probably would have been easier not to be. Easier? She laughed, wet with tears. Liv, you're the easiest friend I've ever had. You show up. You listen. You remember birthdays. You actually care about people's lives. Your family's the one who made friendship with you feel hard, not you. Something in those words settled deep in my bones. A truth I needed to hear. The timing was perfect. My parents and Emily were leaving for Miami on April 28th. I scheduled my departure for April 26th. I wanted the apartment empty, my life packed away, before they even boarded their plane. Mom called twice. The first time, she wanted to know what souvenirs I might want. The second, if I could water her plants. I said yes to both. I was very good at saying yes. 3 days before they left, I drove to their house while they were out. I still had a key, the same one from high school, the one I'd used to let myself in to do homework before my grocery store shift. I watered the plants. Checked the windows. Made sure everything was secure. Then I went to the den, where Dad kept his important papers. I found the folder labeled Family. Inside were copies of birth certificates, social security cards, vaccination records. I took my documents, just mine. They were mine, anyway. In the kitchen, I wrote a note on the back of a grocery receipt, plants are watered. Have a great trip. I signed it with my name. Then I left my house key on the kitchen table next to the note. April 26th arrived with clear skies and a feeling of lightness I hadn't experienced in years. My car was packed. My apartment was empty. I'd forwarded my mail to a P.O. box in Austin, set up online the week before. My phone was loaded with podcasts and playlists. I had a cooler full of snacks and water. I drove away at 6 a.m., before traffic. I didn't look back. The first day, I made it to Kansas City. I stayed in a cheap motel, ate gas station sandwiches, and felt more alive than I had in a decade. The second day, I pushed through to Phoenix. The Arizona mountains took my breath away. I'd never seen mountains before, not real ones. I pulled over at a rest stop, got out, and just stood there, staring. An elderly couple walked past. The woman smiled. First time seeing them? She asked. Is it that obvious? You've got the look, her husband said. Same look everyone gets their first time. Like you can't believe they're real. They don't seem real, I admitted. I've lived my whole life in the Midwest. Everything's flat. This is humbling. That's what my Henry said when we first drove out here 40 years ago, the woman finished. Mountains make you feel small, but in a good way. Remind you there's a whole world out there bigger than your problems. They walked away hand in hand. I stood there, thinking about how I'd spent 29 years in a world so small it had almost suffocated me. These mountains, this vast sky, this endless road ahead. This was what freedom looked like. I called Chloe from the parking lot, my new phone feeling strange. I'm in Arizona, I said when she answered. Chloe, there are mountains. She laughed. I know there are mountains in Arizona, Liv. No, you don't understand. They're enormous. They're like something out of a painting. I've been driving for hours and I'm still not past them. You sound happy. I leaned against my car, feeling the sun on my face. I think I am. Is that weird? I just blew up my entire life and I'm happy about it. That's not weird at all. That's exactly how you should feel. Where are you staying tonight? I don't know yet. I'm just driving until I get tired. That's so unlike you. Old Olivia would have had every hotel booked in advance. Old Olivia did a lot of things that didn't make her happy. Day 3 took me through Oklahoma City and into New Mexico. By the time I reached Albuquerque on day 4, my parents would have been in Miami for nearly a week. I stopped at a library in Albuquerque and checked my email from a public computer. There were 12 messages from Mom, starting friendly and concerned, escalating to confused, panicked, then furious. 5 from Dad, all variations of call your mother immediately. 2 from Emily, what's your problem, and you're being incredibly selfish. I scrolled through them, watching the timeline of their realization. The first few assumed I was busy at work. Then confused why I wasn't responding. Then Mom had called my office, and Sarah from HR told her I was on leave. The emails got more frantic. The most recent, from Mom, sent the previous night, your landlord told us you moved out. He wouldn't say where you went. Olivia, this isn't funny anymore. We're cutting our vacation short and coming home tomorrow. You need to call us the moment you see this. I deleted them all and closed the browser. My hands were shaking as I walked back to my car. They were going to cut their vacation short. They were coming home early because I wasn't responding. Part of me felt guilty, the part trained for 29 years to feel responsible for their feelings. But a larger part felt something else entirely, vindication. I'd been invisible for so long, and now my absence was so loud they couldn't enjoy paradise. I sat in my car in the library parking lot and let myself feel it all, the guilt, the satisfaction, the anger, the freedom. A woman tapped on my window, looking concerned. Are you all right, honey? I rolled down the window, realizing I was crying. I'm fine. Actually, I'm better than fine. I'm free. She looked confused but smiled anyway. Well, good for you. After she left, I texted Mark's sister, Jessica. He'd given me her number before I left, and I'd been too nervous to use it. Hi, Jessica. I'm Mark's coworker, Olivia. I'm moving to Austin, and he said you might have some job search advice. No pressure if you're too busy. She responded within an hour. Mark told me to expect your text. When do you get to Austin? Let's grab coffee and I'll introduce you to some people in accounting here. Just like that, I had a connection. Someone who didn't know my family, didn't know my history, didn't have any preconceptions about who I was supposed to be. At a coffee shop in Albuquerque, I applied to 12 accounting jobs in Austin before getting back on the road. Day 5 took me through the rest of New Mexico and into Texas. The moment I crossed the state line, I pulled over. No dramatic sign, no obvious change in landscape, but something shifted inside me. This was it. This was where I'd rebuild. I took a photo of the Welcome to Texas sign and sent it to Chloe with the caption, "Made it." She responded immediately, "Proud of you. Your mom called me again today. She's frantic." I typed and deleted 3 different responses before settling on, "That's not my problem anymore." It felt harsh typing it, but it also felt true. Their panic, their confusion, their anger, none of it was mine to fix. I'd spent my whole life trying to manage their emotions, trying to make myself small enough not to be a burden, trying to be understanding and mature and patient. Where had it gotten me? Here, I realized, looking at the Texas landscape. It had gotten me here, to this moment, where I finally understood that the only person's emotions I was responsible for were my own. Austin was vibrant and warm. I stayed in an extended stay hotel for 2 weeks while I apartment hunted. By the end of the first week, I'd heard back from 5 companies and had 3 interviews scheduled. They went well. I accepted an offer from a mid-size firm that paid 15% more than my old job. The apartment I found was a 1-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood with a window looking out onto a blossoming tree. During my second interview, the hiring manager, a woman named Susan, asked me why I'd moved to Austin without a job lined up first. "I needed a change," I said, true but incomplete. Susan leaned back. "I appreciate honesty, Olivia. And I appreciate courage. Most people wait until everything's perfect before they make a move. But perfect never comes, does it?" "No," I agreed. "It doesn't. I left my family's business to start my career here," she said. 20 years ago. My father didn't speak to me for 5 years. But I built something that was mine, and eventually, he came around. Sometimes you have to choose yourself first. I got the job offer that afternoon. Jessica met me for coffee on my 3rd day in Austin, at a small cafe downtown that smelled like cinnamon and rain. She was in her 40s, warm and energetic, wearing a blazer covered in cat hair that she brushed absently. "Sorry," she laughed. 3 cats at home. Occupational hazard. We talked for 2 hours. She introduced me to her friend, Ashley, who worked at another accounting firm, and Ashley introduced me to the local professional organization. By the end of the week, I had a network. Small, but real. "Mark said you were running from something," Jessica mentioned as we left. "Didn't say what?" "Don't have to tell me if you don't want to." "Family stuff," I said. "The kind where you realize you're never going to be what they want, so you might as well be what you need." She nodded slowly. "Been there. Took me until I was 35 to figure that out." "You're smart to do it now." "I bought a new phone with a new number. I gave it to my employer, my landlord, and Chloe. Nobody else." The emails continued for a while. Mom's messages went through phases: anger, hurt, bargaining, more anger. Dad's were shorter, more demanding. Emily sent one long email about how selfish I was, how I was hurting Mom, how this was typical of me to make everything about myself. That last one almost made me laugh. Almost. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I went to work. I explored my new city. I joined a book club. I took a ceramics class on Thursday evenings. I started running in the mornings through the park near my apartment. I made friends with my neighbor, an older woman named Martha, who taught me to grow herbs on my balcony. On Thanksgiving, Chloe called me. "Your mom contacted me. She said she's desperate to know if you're okay." "I'm okay," I said. I was roasting a small chicken and sweet potatoes, cooking for myself in my own kitchen, with my own dishes I'd chosen. She said she doesn't understand what happened. I watched the rain streak down my window. "I know. Do you want me to tell her anything?" "Tell her I'm alive and healthy. That's all." Chloe was quiet. Are you happy? I thought about my morning run, the coffee shop where the barista now knew my order, the promotion my new boss had hinted at, the complete absence of that hollow feeling that used to wake me at 3 a.m. Yeah, I said. I really am. Then I'm glad you left. Christmas came and went. I bought myself a small tree and decorated it with ornaments from a local artist shop. I video called Chloe on Christmas morning, and she showed me her kids opening presents. She didn't mention my family, and I was grateful. In January, almost 9 months after I'd left, I received a letter at my P.O. box. It was forwarded from my old address, on my mother's stationery, with her neat handwriting. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won. I opened it. Dear Olivia, it began. Not sweetie. Not honey. Olivia. Your father and I have been doing a lot of thinking. We realize now that we may not have treated you fairly over the years. We'd like to talk to you about this. Please call us or tell us where you are. We miss you. Love, Mom. May not have treated you fairly. The understatement was almost impressive. I read the letter 3 times, looking for something more, something real, an acknowledgement of specifics, an actual apology. Any indication that they understood what they'd done. It wasn't there. I put the letter in a drawer and went to my ceramics class. February brought my 1-year anniversary in Austin. My boss promoted me to senior accountant. Martha invited me to her grandson's wedding. The blossoming tree outside my window started to bud. Chloe told me Mom had stopped asking about me. I think she's given up, Chloe said, and I couldn't tell if she thought that was good or bad. I didn't know either. Spring in Austin was everything I'd hoped for. The city bloomed. I took myself on weekend trips to the hill country, to small towns with strange names and good coffee. I dated a software engineer named Ben for a few months. It didn't work out, but it was nice. I adopted a cat from the shelter, a cranky tabby named Jasper, who liked to sleep on my keyboard. I built a life. In May, Emily sent me an email. Just one, out of nowhere. I'm getting married in September, it said. I know things have been weird, but you're still my sister. I'd like you to be there. I'd like you to be a bridesmaid, actually. Please think about it. I stared at the email. No apology, no acknowledgement of anything that had happened. Just an invitation, as if the past year had been a minor disagreement, a phase I'd gone through. I thought about going back, putting on a dress Emily chose, standing next to her while she married someone I'd never met, smiling for family photos, hugging relatives who would ask where I'd been with that edge of judgment in their voices. I thought about Mom introducing me, spinning some story about my journey or adventure, making it sound like a sabbatical, not an escape. I thought about Dad avoiding eye contact, uncomfortable, waiting for everything to go back to normal. I thought about Emily, beautiful and happy, surrounded by people who loved her, while I stood to the side, a prop in her perfect day. Then I thought about my apartment, my cat, my blossoming tree, my Thursday ceramics class, my morning runs, my life I'd built from nothing, my freedom I'd fought for. The choice wasn't even difficult. I deleted the email. June arrived, and with it, Martha's grandson's wedding. She'd asked me to be her +1 months ago. It was a small ceremony in a garden, intimate and sweet. The couple wrote their own vows, promising to choose each other every day, to be partners, to build something together. During the reception, Martha squeezed my hand. "You're crying, dear." I was. I hadn't realized. "It's beautiful," I said. And it was. It was beautiful in a way I'd never seen before, this love that was given freely, that didn't need to be earned or justified or competed for. "You'll have this someday," Martha said. "Maybe," I replied. "But I already have something good." She smiled. "Yes, you do." July brought a heat wave. I bought a fan and learned to make cold brew. My ceramics teacher asked if I wanted to display some pieces in a local gallery show. I said yes, terrified and thrilled. In August, 3 weeks before Emily's wedding, Mom sent another letter. Olivia, we need to talk about Emily's wedding. She's very hurt you haven't responded. This is a big day for our family, and your absence will be noted. People will ask questions. I hope you reconsider. We can pay for your flight and hotel. Please don't let pride keep you from being there for your sister. You'll regret this when you're older. I laughed out loud reading that last line. Jasper looked up, annoyed. You'll understand when you're older, I said to him. That's what she always says. Jasper yawned and went back to sleep. I thought about responding. Writing everything I'd wanted to say for years, itemizing every injustice, every moment of favoritism, every time they'd chosen Emily without a second thought. But what was the point? They'd read it as me being dramatic, sensitive, unable to let things go. They'd show it to relatives as proof that I was the problem, bitter and unreasonable. They'd never understand. And I realized, finally, that I didn't need them to. I put the letter with the others in my drawer. Evidence of something, though I wasn't sure what. Evidence that I'd existed to them, maybe. Evidence that they'd noticed my absence. The gallery show was in early September, the same weekend as Emily's wedding. My ceramics were displayed on a white shelf with my name and prices. 3 pieces sold on opening night. Martha bought one and wouldn't let me refund her money. You're an artist now, she said, hugging me. I'm supporting the arts. Ben came to the show, even though we'd broken up. We stood looking at my work, these bowls and vases I'd made with my own hands. You seem different, he said. Lighter. I am, I said. That night, I knew Emily was getting married. Mom was probably crying happy tears, Dad making an awkward speech. Everyone dancing, laughing. I went home, poured myself a glass of wine, and sat on my balcony with Jasper. The blossoming tree had lost most of its flowers, but it was still beautiful, still growing. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I just felt free. A year and a half after I left, I was promoted again. Making more money than I'd imagined, enough to pay off my remaining student loans and start saving seriously. I moved to a bigger apartment with 2 bedrooms, one for a home office and art studio. Chloe visited in October. We drove to the coast, staying in a bed and breakfast overlooking the ocean. On our last night, by a bonfire on the beach, she asked the question I'd been waiting for. Do you think you'll ever talk to them again? I watched the waves crash. I don't know. Maybe someday. If they ever really understand what they did. If they ever really apologize. And if they don't, then I have this. I gestured at the ocean, the stars, the fire. I have a good life. I have friends. I have work I'm proud of. I have myself. Chloe nodded. You do. And for what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Do you? Yeah. I've seen you before and after. Before, you were always trying so hard to be enough. Now you just are. Tears pricked my eyes. Thank you. For what? For not judging me. For being my friend, even when it was probably uncomfortable. She bumped my shoulder. That's what friends do. 2 years after I left, as I prepared for another holiday season alone, I received an unexpected package at my P.O. box. From an address I didn't recognize, but the handwriting on the label was familiar. Inside was an old, worn photo album from my childhood. Me as a baby, a toddler, a young child. In many, I was alone. In some, my parents were there, younger, happier. No pictures of Emily. All from before she was born, those first 3 years when I'd been their only child. At the bottom of the box was a letter. This one was from Dad. "Olivia," it began. "I found this in the attic. Your mother doesn't know I'm sending it. I thought you might want it. I also wanted to say that I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. I know we failed you. I don't expect you to forgive us or come back. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what we did. I'm sorry we made you feel like you had to leave to matter. You always mattered. I just didn't show it. I hope you're happy wherever you are. Love, Dad." I cried for an hour. Not sad tears, not angry tears, just tears releasing something I'd been holding for so long. I didn't respond, but I kept the letter. Separate from the others, in a box with the photo album. Things that mattered. Spring came around again, 3 years in Austin. I was 32, established in my career, surrounded by friends, living in a city I loved. The blossoming tree outside my window bloomed again, more beautiful than ever. Martha died that spring. A heart attack, sudden and peaceful. At her funeral, her grandson thanked me for being such a good friend to her. "She talked about you all the time," he said. "She was so proud of you." I cried again, mourning this woman who had been more of a mother to me in 2 years than my own. Mother had been in 28. Life continued. That's what it does. I dated other people. Some relationships lasted months, some weeks. I was learning what I wanted, what I deserved. I was learning that I didn't need to earn love, that the right people would give it freely. I exhibited more art, sold more pieces, developed a small reputation in the local ceramics community. My work got better. My life got fuller. And sometimes late at night, I thought about my family. Emily, wondering if she was happy in her marriage, if she'd had kids. If she'd ever understood why I left. Mom, wondering if she still told people she didn't understand what happened, if she still made excuses. Dad, wondering if he told Mom about the package. Mostly, though, I thought about myself. About the girl I'd been, working 2 jobs, taking out loans, saying yes to everything, always hoping someday she'd be enough. About the woman I'd become, who knew she was already enough, who'd built a life that proved it. Mom had been right about one thing. I did understand better, now that I was older. I understood that leaving wasn't cruel. It was survival. I understood that family wasn't always the people you were born to. Sometimes it was the people you chose, like Chloe and Martha and the friends I'd made here. I understood that you can't make someone value you. You can only value yourself enough to walk away. And I understood that happiness isn't something you wait for permission to have. It's something you take, something you build, something you fight for when everyone around you says you should settle for less. 3 years after I left a key on a table and drove west, I finally understood. And I'd never felt older or wiser or more free in my entire life. What would you have done if you finally realized you deserved more?